Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Shawanna Vaughn is in the building, and I am really excited to get to speak to you, sweetie, because I personally reached out to you and searched for you diligently.
Thank you.
Speaking your mind?
Thank you so much.
No. Something's not right. Try now.
Thank you so much.
Got. Yeah, I saw you on New York one. I know you're tired of hearing that, huh? But you know, Cheryl Willis is good people.
Yes,
She's actually been a
yes.
guest on the radio show.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
amazing! Yes.
And our magazine, Tree Magazine, actually had the rare opportunity to do a spread on her a couple months ago, before COVID. So I guess it's been over a year ago. And we actually did the interview with her at New York one, at her desk. Yeah. And I've always been a huge fan, so that was really dope experience for me. I'm a journalist, and I love Cheryl Willis.
Yes.
And you know, Cheryl
She's
is
amazing.
dope.
She's the truth.
She is. So I'm going to just say this, Shawanna, very quickly, and then we're going to get into our conversation. You were formerly incarcerated, are formerly incarcerated,
Absolutely.
as I am.
Absolutely.
And that's where the connection came. Because I watched the interview and I was like, I gotta get Shawanna on the show. We have so much to talk about, and I want to support her, and I need her actually. And we're gonna really get into that. But first, I want to say, ask you, what was it like being on New York on Cheryl Willis? You know, Emmy award winning journalist. What was it like being on her show?
Amazing. It was amazing. She is not only personable, but she's authentic, and she's unapologetically just an amazing journalist. And the fact that she would tell a story and create a narrative for women.
Yes.
As far as being a Black woman, who my organization is a grassroots organization.
Correct.
And the fact that she took that on and created a platform.
Right.
So my voice would be amplified. Exactly. It's amazing.
Yeah, she has a huge audience.
Yes.
And a loyal fan base. And yeah, if it wasn't for her, you and I would be sitting here talking.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So shout out to Cheryl Willis.
Shout out to Cheryl Willis all day. So talk to me about your organization, and let's just get to the meat and bones of the discussion. So the name of your organization is
Silent Cry Inc.
Correct. And what is Silent Cry Inc. all about? Because you have a serious story.
So Silent Cry Inc. is out of my own silent tears. You know, as I told you in the interview with Cheryl Willis, I was born in prison.
You was born?
I was born in prison.
That part that's probably when I went to get my Doritos.
Oh, okay. So yes, I was born in prison April 15th, 1978 in Corona State Prison for Women.
You're in Aries.
Yes. Shout out to the Aries. Yes.
How to get that out?
Yes. So, absolutely.
You were born in prison where now?
I was born in prison in Corona State Prison for Women in Riverside County.
Okay.
In California.
Southern California.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons I championed the First Step Act, you know, I was born to a mother shackled and chained in real time. And we assimilate slavery for African Americans to 400 years. And I said, time must freeze for us because we've been saying 400 years for too long.
Yeah, well, ever since I was born.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So we must freeze in all time capsules because we're still on 13% of the population. We're not born, we don't die. It's just amazing how our statistics are fabricated in this country. Because I said, we're talking about slavery and we say 400 years. I was a slave 42 years ago on a plantation. In Riverside County, straight from slavery. And I don't think we are understanding what slavery is in the 21st century. It's prison. It's mass incarceration.
So then, let's fast forward a little bit. Then you were incarcerated.
Yes, I was vendor to the prison system, back to the prison system myself.
And what was that like for you? What was the experience of being incarcerated like for you as a woman?
As a young Black woman who was not yet a woman, incarcerated in the carceral system in California, it was punitive.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
17.
Wow.
And funny, somebody is, shout out to Bernice Cuby, who was a mother for me inside prison. And it is the prison system is punitive. And I'm clear that we don't treat the trauma. We treat the action.
Clearly.
We treat the thing, but we don't treat the root of the tree. And so while you saw my actions, nobody ever treated me as a human being.
And how much time did you have to do in prison? I want to ask for what?
5 years.
I don't think that's really important.
5 years.
So in the 5 years, so when you were released from prison, where was this prison at that you were released from?
Valley State Prison for Women in Chowchilla, California.
Okay. So, and I heard California prisons are nothing nice.
Not at all.
Because you have a gang situation and everything's racially divided and gang divided. And it's a lot. I've been incarcerated in the New York State system, which by comparison, I guess, is pretty tame. So I was incarcerated the last 10 months of my sentence were at the Attica Correctional Facility. Attica is the worst prison in the state of New York and definitely among the top 5 probably in the nation. I was sent there. My crime was a medium security crime. It was identity theft. It was a money crime, right? But they ran out of space at the mediums and decided, just put him in the maximum for his last 10 months. He'll be fine. So I have had and have PTSD. I still have trauma from that experience that ended a little over 10 years ago. 2007, I was released. And I still hold a lot of trauma. An average of once a week, I have a nightmare related to being incarcerated in some way, right? And I've clearly, made my amends. I've clearly achieved. I went to college. I got the 5 Theta Kappa. I did it all. Everything that a person that's incarcerated is expected not to do, I did, right? But thank you. But for you, like, what was it like after prison, post release?
Post incarceration is one of the toughest things for everybody in this nation, because you're expected to be released with $40 in a bus ticket, come home,
$40.
come home, acclimate yourself, make it to parole, have a place to live, and hold down a steady job.
Immediately. And sometimes you have to pay fines. Yes.
And you're expected to do this when they sent you to gladiator school. Right. They sent you to a place of no redemption, and they sent you to hell on earth.
Right. It's really not about it's not about corrections. I don't even know why they call it that. It's about warehousing. And and let me just say this though. I don't want to sit here and say that everybody that's going to prison is a victim. I don't really believe that. I don't. My father was murdered, right? In 1996, the day before Father's Day. Nobody was ever arrested. There's nobody to this day, almost 25 years later. There's never been any arrest. You can best believe that I would like to think that if that person was found, well, at this point, the person probably deceased. Right? It's been 26 years, 25 years. But I would like to see that person or persons incarcerated. I don't really believe that everybody that goes to jail is innocent. When I was at Attica, I didn't sympathize with everybody that I was locked next to. It was an arsonist on one side of me, a cannibal on the other. I didn't want to live next to these people on the street either. However, I feel that when people are released, regardless of what the situation is, they've done their time. Whatever the judge assumed the sentence should be, that's the sentence. And once the sentence is over, the sentence should be over. But I feel like a lot of times post-release is an extension of that sentence. Sometimes it can be more harsh than the sentence itself. What is your opinion on that?
Absolutely. I think parole and probation absolutely has to be reformed, and it needs an immense overhaul. And, shout out to Reform Alliance for the reforms that they did in Michigan. And the hard work that they do.
Well, what did they do in Michigan?
They did a huge bill package in Michigan that revamps parole and what it looks like, to make it easier for people to be at home and to be free. And I think that is what is needed across this country, because when you are asked to do all these tasks and you know, just like I do, what they are, it's a high expectation when you were given no tool.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I learned though? Shawanna, a lot of people. I was an oddball in prison, right? I remember when I was brought to the reception center, they asked me a question. I'll never forget this. Mr. Singleton, did you get your GED? And I said, huh? They said, yeah, Mr. Singleton, you know, we need to know where we can place you in prison. You know, prison in New York anyway. You have to do program in order to be released, right? Mr. Singleton, we just want to know, did you get your GED? My answer was no. I said, okay. When I got sent up to prison and they classified me, I'll never forget this. They assigned me to be in a classroom. I said, what am I going to be, like a teacher or something? They had teachers that were inmates. No, you know, the counselor said that you need to get your education together. I was like, no, I don't. Why would you say that? You know the answer? Oh, Mr. Singleton, when we asked you in the reception center if you got your GED, you said no. I was like, well, damn, you didn't ask me if I got my high school diploma. By the time when I was in prison, I had a college
degree.
You didn't ask that. You asked me if I
because they didn't expect
exactly. That. You assumed that if I didn't have a GED, that I was And so it's ridiculous because I came home and I went back to college, you know, got my degree and beat the odds, but it was not easy. I had to, you know, spend a lot of time. I never told anybody, you know, I was homeless for a while, not on the street, but I had to couch surf because when you're released from prison, you have to have an address. If you don't have an address, you're not going to shelter. Well, if you're out, I'm saying. And I don't know, like, what was it? What happened to you when you came out? What was it like for you?
So, understandably, it is immensely harder for women than it is men.
Okay.
Because our reality is a man will always have a woman to live with. A man will always have a mama to hold him down. A man will always find the chick from around the way. Remember when we was in the 10th grade and she will fall for anything.
Also, a gigolo.
Always. A man will always have a safety net. A man, listen, because women are nurturers and we want to take care of something. And so for some women looking at a man coming home from incarceration, it's like, oh, let me take care of a kid or a wounded animal.
And, you know, I hate to interject, but you're right. Because, you know, the truth of the matter is, a guy in jail will find a female pen pal.
Absolutely.
That will deliver money and visits and all that. But I never thought about it. Do the ladies get visits from the guys?
No. Let me tell you, you know, for the most part, women are invisible, silently crying, and forgotten about. And we got to change what that looks like in totality for women. Women are going to prison at 19% the rate of men right now in this country. We are leading the prison population. And yet, we don't have the same conversations at the table. There's no stake for women. And unfortunately, that has to change. Prison was actually written, the rules were written for men. And now we have, in the 21st century, women going to prison at 19% of the rate of men.
So what does your organization and yourself do to make change?
So, Silent Cry focuses on mass incarceration, foster care, and violence prevention.
Okay, so it all ties in.
Listen, it's all one problem. Unfortunately, we have to tackle them one person, one issue at a time, but it's one big problem. It's one system to another. Okay. But I would say, in this present moment, I have legislation. It's like birthing my third child. It's called post-traumatic prison disorder, Shawanna W76337.
Which was your inmate?
Which was my prison number.
Yeah, wow.
Absolutely. Wow. And I'm very clear that the remnants that people suffer post-incarceration are traumatic. Yeah. And just like you said, the 10 months that you did in Attica, 10 years out of prison, you still understand the trauma of those 10 months.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't care whether
and that was the end of my sentence.
Exactly.
There was 10 months on Rikers, X amount. I did 2.5 years altogether.
See?
So it was a variety. But probably the most traumatic were the months in Rikers at the front of the sentence and Attica at the end of the sentence. Not to say that the middle time wasn't traumatic, but yeah, those are the two most traumatic things.
Yeah.
And so we're running short on time as well. I'm not back on the show. But how can we help you to help other people? We meaning society.
Society, I need amplified voices and shared messaging that mass incarceration and mental health has to be this country's priority. We are in a pandemic. We're looking at COVID, and we are in a mental health crisis, not just in America, but around the world. So the problem is, if we are acknowledging that we are in a mental health crisis in the pandemic in the world, what about the people that are silently crying, that are invisible, because they're not seen and heard, because they're warehoused and sent away in silence? There are 2.3 million people in this country who have been exiled to the plantation, and we're acting like they're not there.
Right.
But the reality is, those are someone's children, those are someone's parents, those are someone's grandparents, and they are not forgotten, and I hear their silent cries. And I am screaming for them, and I'm echoing that post-traumatic prison disorder, Shawanna W76337, must be passed in New York State, must be passed in Michigan, not intermediately, but now. Because the remnants from prison will long outweigh, and I don't want to hear about the money that it will cost, because the totality of wellness has no cost. And do you want your neighbor to come home well? Because you don't know where the person is going to live when they are released, and you know what? That might be your neighbor. How do you want them to come home from incarceration? See, mental health doesn't have a color, agenda, or an economic standing. Mental health is a cost on this nation. And just like we're passing 1.9 billion packages right now in Washington, we can pass a 1.9 billion trillion dollar package to save mental health in this country. We have to revamp the way we look at mental health, especially in the African American community, because if it hurts, say ouch. We have a policy like the military: don't ask, don't tell. And so we don't tell the hurts and the issues that come from prison. We don't tell the hurts and issues that come from our trauma from childhood that lead us to prison. And this is absolutely unacceptable. And we are no longer laying down waiting. We have to write legislation for us, by us. So I am asking that people join my support. Legislation takes money. Legislation takes time. Legislation takes people.
Right.
All those things are vital.
How can we do that 1 minute left? How can we reach out to you and give you the resources, whatever they may be, whatever people can do?
Whatever it is, you can reach me at Shawanna at silentcryinc.org. You can send messages through silentcryinc.org, which is my website. I'm on Facebook at Silent Cry Inc. And Shawanna Irina Vaughn. Google me, Instagram me, Facebook me, Twitter me at Silent Cry Inc, silentcry.sv. All help is good help, because anything you do from your heart is needed in this moment, in this movement, in this crisis, because we're trying to heal.
And I want to say this: you can count on the Carrie's Corner Radio Show as being one of your allies. The show's over, of course. I'm going to definitely build with you on how I can help. I mean, I know we're going through COVID and all that other stuff, but like in 2019, I spent some time speaking at youth jails, and that was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I went to one in the Bronx and one in Brooklyn. I spent a couple of hours just talking to the kids, saying, "Hey, look, I know where you're at. I've experienced incarceration, and I want to show you an example of what you could be." So I definitely would like to be aligned with you, sister. If you allow me to be.
Absolutely.
And definitely know that this radio show is now a platform for your platform.
Absolutely. And shout out to this radio station. I appreciate you.
Thank you. One more time, let everyone know how they can reach out to you.
silentcryinc.org, silentcry.sv on Instagram and Twitter, LinkedIn, Shawanna Irina Vaughn, Facebook, Silent Cry Inc., or Shawanna Irina Vaughn. Please reach out to me. I am always taking calls. I'm always available. If your families are incarcerated, please reach out to me. There are tremendous people out here doing great work. And you know what? And I always tell people, if it is not me, then get involved with something.
Right.
Do something to make your life count because you have rent to pay on earth. Do something. Pay the rent.
Because you have rent to pay on earth, and she is not speaking about anything monetary. I love that.
No.
I love that. Let's close on that.
Absolutely.
You definitely got to come back on the show, sweetie.
Yes.
We got a lot more to talk about. Right now, we're going to get into our artist spotlight mix. One of my favorite artists.
Yes.
Who I feel like she is so under damn rated.
No, she's not.
Your mic's not on. I can't hear you.
No, she's not.
Oh,
no way.
Well, she is underrated. I'm not saying she's under-talented.
No, I never thought she was underrated. When I mentioned her name, everyone's like, yes.
Yeah. Let's salute this week a legendary lady with a voice of gold, Miss Roberta Flack on Cherry Corner. You doing home for